All of us dream about college, and I was no exception. Yet, what I completely forgot to think about in my years leading up to the college app process was how convoluted the process is. And I'm here to tell you my story about my very imperfect yet functional college application timeline and how I got things done in time, but not in the most ideal way. If you want to see the ideal timeline, I'll be posting that tomorrow, so subscribe and stay tuned for that video. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in to my imperfect timeline and how I got the job done. I'm proud to present to you the only ideal part of my college app timeline process, and that was getting my standardized testing done on time, or I would say before time, because I got my SAT done my August of junior year, so almost a year early, to be frank, and that set me up really well for procrastinating the rest of the process. The second step that most people talk about is visiting colleges and narrowing down your college list. I have to be honest, college visits didn't really happen for me. It didn't fit them in my schedule. Frankly, I think that a lot of people spend their whole summer between junior and senior year working on college apps when, in fact, you could spend that time really cementing your resume instead. But that being said, I didn't do any college visits except for to the colleges that were very, very nearby. So not the best move on my part because it didn't show interest that well, but yeah, that's the truth and that's what happened. So yeah, college visits didn't happen. I didn't see that it was important enough to write on the screen, but I sent all my scores to the colleges on time. I sent them maybe midway through August, so I guess I was ahead of the curve in that regard. So now let's talk about essays. So the main essay, Common App essay, all the different names there are for it, I started mine maybe early September and must have written like 15 or 16 different essays before I got one that I liked. And again, everything got done maybe 2 weeks before my first deadline. And my supplementary essays I got done usually a week before the deadline, and I started usually 2 weeks before the deadline. Some great, not advice, but news for those of you who are going to apply this year. Supplements get reused a lot because a lot of the colleges have very similar supplements. For example, if you're applying to Ivy Leagues, a lot of the time they're going to have the Why This College essay. And although I would highly recommend you don't use the same template for it, actually this was just a bad example, but you will see very similar structures of questions and you can write similar essays about them and things get done faster. So yeah, usually I'd get those submitted a week along with my common application, of course. My essays, get them in a week before the deadline. And yeah, as for interviews, it's hard to screw that up because they give you dates and then you go and you do them. Scholarships, don't be lazy. I was lazy and I didn't get as many done as I could have, and that could have really boosted my chances. I'll cover financial aid related things in a separate video, but I guess that's everything that you really need to know as juniors going into that senior year and prepping those college apps. And tomorrow I will be dropping the video about how you're supposed to be doing it in a very meticulous and well thought out fashion. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. I almost forgot to mention, I'm so sorry to those of you who aren't familiar with the college application process, just like I had no idea before. So I'm going to drop a series of very, very specific videos explaining every single step. That way you guys can understand some of the jargon I was using. And I realized I used some of these words with relative ease when in fact there's a lot more behind it that I only understand out of hindsight and experience. Also, I totally forgot to mention the letter of recommendations. I did ask for them during my junior year, and my teachers had them ready, and then they sent them maybe as soon as school started that first week. So remember, really make sure you tell your teachers to write them for you. Maybe ask 3 teachers, even though they say it only has 2, to make sure that if you don't have a teacher, if one of the teachers chooses not to be punctual, that you're not going to get hurt in this process.